All right, now we're on episode 3 of Parental Emotional Abuse, which is episode 38 in the Tiny EQ series. All right, so let's continue on. Because childhood abuse, neglect, and trauma change in brain structure and chemical function, maltreatment can also affect the way children behave, even adults, regulating emotions and function socially. These potential effects include being constantly on alert and unable to relax no matter the situation, feeling fearful most of the time, finding social situations more challenging, learning deficits in different manners, not hitting developmental milestones in a timely fashion, a tendency to develop a mental health condition, and lastly, we have a weakened ability to process positive feedbacks. They're quite severe, aren't they, if you really think about it? These effects can continue to cause issues in adulthood if they're not addressed. Adults who experience maltreatment during childhood as well as during adulthood may have trouble with interpersonal relationships, or they may avoid them altogether. That's what I'm doing now. Always had a boyfriend, but because my mom. Anyways. Emotional abuse and neglect can allow for a secure attachment to form between a child and the caregiver, which causes distress for the child and influences the way they see themselves and others. Adults who went through childhood emotional abuse or neglect may also experience emotional dysregulation. Very important for people with ADHD already. Feeling of hopelessness, not clinical depression, but it's developed depression, low self-esteem, negative atomic thoughts, and problem coding with stressors. I think everybody does, but how childhood abuse or neglect affect children later in life depends on a variety of factors. It depends on how often the abuse occurred, how long the abuse lasted, the kind of severity of the abuse, the age of the child during the abuse, who the abuser is, whether or not the child had a dependable, loving adult in their life, if there were any interventions in the abuse itself, other individual internal or external influences and factors. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, my mom does all 8 of them since I was 8 years old. And you know what? It took me a lot. I never had I guess I'm lucky. I never had self-esteem issues. I know I'm always top of the class. I know what I want to do since I was young in high school. I put my whole tattoo on my back, depending on the education. And, I'm looking to PhD programs right now. So, my mom is just not happy with me. Doesn't matter what I do. She abuses me, call me names. She make up things to tell my dad, so my dad won't talk to me anymore. She ruined the relationship between me and my brother, and this allowed me to see my niece and nephew. So there's a lot that my mom did to me, and the police doesn't do anything about it. And they said, it's your mom doing this to you is not a criminal offense. How is it not a criminal offense? It's a criminal harassment. It's aggravated assault, verbal assault, and emotional assault. So there we go. Should not be in the criminal code. I think so.